What if I told you the difference between graduating with six-figure debt and graduating debt-free could come down to just a few LSAT points? Over the past 20 years, I've had the chance to work with thousands of aspiring law students who wanted to crack the code to top law schools without ending up suffocated by insane loan payments. Today, I'm going to show you how a small improvement in your LSAT score can unlock more than $200,000 in scholarship money. The best part? Law schools will practically throw this money at you if you know how to position yourself. So stick with me because we're about to expose the scholarship game that top law schools don't want you to know. First, for those who don't know me, my name is Steve Schwartz. I've been teaching the LSAT since 2005, and I personally increased my own LSAT score from a 152 to a 175. Now, over the past 20 years, I've helped thousands of students earn admission to some of the most competitive law schools in the country. Along the way, I noticed a pattern that nobody wants to talk about. Law schools are obsessed with LSAT scores. Why? Because those scores directly affect their status in the US News rankings. And because of that obsession, schools are willing to pay top dollar in scholarship money for even small score improvements. Now, I want to share with you a real life example. Imagine one applicant with a 3.5 GPA and a 160 LSAT. Now imagine the same applicant with a 165 LSAT, just a 5-point difference. The scholarship offer in the first scenario might hover around $20,000 or $30,000 in total. But with that higher LSAT, just 5 points, we're talking upwards of $180,000, sometimes even a full ride plus a stipend. If this sounds too good to be true, let me assure you it's happening every single year. The sad part is, most applicants never realize the magnitude of the difference until it's too late. Now, you might be thinking, why would schools give away this kind of money just for a higher LSAT score? Because in the highs of law schools, those extra few points can boost their ranking, attract more applicants, and ultimately increase their prestige. So yes, they are absolutely ready to shell out massive scholarship deals to secure top LSAT scorers. That's why I call this the scholarship game. But before we dive deeper into how to leverage it, let me break down 3 brutal truths about law school costs that nobody wants to talk about. Truth number 1 is the scholarship matrix. Here's how it works. You combine your LSAT score with your GPA, and that combination effectively places you on a grid, a matrix that law schools use to determine how much scholarship money you're eligible for. First factor to know is LSAT over GPA. You might have an impressive GPA, but if your LSAT score isn't up to par, you'll see significantly smaller scholarship offers. A 3-point improvement in your LSAT score often outweighs a 0.3 boost in your GPA in the eyes of most admissions committees. The second factor to know is skyrocketing offers. If your LSAT jumps from a 158 to a 161, that might be the difference between a partial and a near full scholarship at some law schools. From the school's perspective, the LSAT is a currency they'll pay for. Now, I've personally seen students whose scholarships soared from a few $1,000s to over $150,000 just by moving up their LSAT score by 4 or 5 points. It's not magic. It's understanding how law schools value LSAT scores for their rankings. The scholarship matrix is a real data-driven system. Admissions officers won't show it to you, but you can see its influence in your offers, and they do publish their admissions indices typically directly on LSAC's website. And those stats imply a direct correlation between specific LSAT ranges and scholarship brackets. This is the first brutal truth. You need to understand that your LSAT number is the single biggest factor in whether you'll get a life-changing scholarship or saddle yourself with 6-figure debt. Truth number 2 is the debt trap, because law school is not cheap. Top programs can easily cost $70,000 per year in tuition alone, not even including living expenses. Over 3 years, you're looking at $200,000 plus interest. But the real shocker is how quickly interest on those loans can pile up. Look at, for example, compound interest, because a $200,000 loan at typical interest rates can turn into $300,000 or more by the time you finish paying it off. So you're not just signing up for the tuition money, you're signing up for decades of monthly loan payments. Imagine shelling out $2,000 every month just for your loans. If your starting salary as a first-year associate is decent but not amazing, you're still faced with a huge chunk of your income going straight to the bank. And that $2,000 a month could be going instead towards saving for a house, traveling, investing, or starting your own law practice. Instead, you're giving it to the loan servicer, and that's where people get stuck. The real heartbreak is seeing students who could have qualified for big scholarships rush into the application process, settle for less, and end up paying those monstrous sums for years. Law school debt is often romanticized as an investment in your future, but if you could avoid it, why wouldn't you? Truth number 3 is the scholarship game. Law schools are so keen on buying high LSAT scores because that helps them climb the rankings. The moment you understand that the ranking is their lifeblood, you gain an edge. If you can apply early in the cycle, schools still have the biggest chunk of scholarship money to give out. If you apply late, more of it's gone. Of course, if you can get a higher LSAT, that will more than outweigh the disadvantages of applying later. So it's better to apply, say, in January or February with a higher LSAT of even just a couple of points than to have applied in November or December with a much lower LSAT. But if you're planning ahead, if you're applying to law school in the fall, apply early in September if possible, just to maximize your odds of getting in and to get that scholarship money. Now, whenever you apply, yes, you can negotiate scholarship offers, and you should. If school A offers you $100,000 and school B offers you only $50,000, you can go back to school B and say, look, I'd love to attend your school, but I had a bigger offer I've got to take. What can you do for me? And if your LSAT score makes you an asset, if you're above their LSAT medians, they will often increase that offer because schools will fight for applicants with higher LSATs so they can boost their LSAT medians. That's why they're willing to offer you that extra $20,000, $50,000, or even $180,000 in scholarships. Think of it like a bidding war for your LSAT score. If you apply strategically and keep your options open, you can leverage one school's offer against another until you maximize your total scholarship package. It's a game, and it's well worth learning to play it like a pro. Now, here's the solution. You capitalize on their scholarship game, and you ensure you're not one of the many who leave $200,000 on the table by upping your LSAT score, even by just a few critical points. Now, I know it might sound daunting, but let me share with you a simple 5-step framework I use with my students. First, step 1, master the fundamentals. Stop chasing advanced tactics before you've nailed the basics of each LSAT section. If your foundation is shaky, you'll struggle to see consistent improvements. Step 2, ID and prioritize your weaknesses. Instead of spending equal time on everything, focus on your weakest question types or sections first. Targeted prep will pay off exponentially compared to scattered practice. Step 3, timing and endurance, because the LSAT is mentally draining. Simulate real testing conditions at least once a week to build your stamina so you can maintain accuracy under pressure. Fourth, a ruthless review using the Socratic review method. After every study session, dissect your wrong answers. Figure out what went wrong and why. Were you misunderstanding the question stem? Was it an issue with time management? Pinpoint those issues so you don't repeat them. Step 5, peak at the right time. Plan when you take the LSAT carefully. You want to peak, not burn out. Aim for the earliest test date that gives you enough time to prep, but also leaves room to retake if you need to before deadlines. Now, a few points on the LSAT can change your entire financial future. It's the most glaring open secret in the law school admissions process. But here's the thing. If you try to do all of this on your own, you might waste precious weeks or months figuring out the best approach. And so, if you're serious about boosting your LSAT score and you want personalized support on how to pull off a 5, 10, 15, or even 20-point improvement, I'd be glad to help you out. At LSAT Unplugged, we offer live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. You could check out the links below to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out and map out a plan to elevate your score and maximize your scholarship offers. Now, most people think getting into a top law school is all about getting an impeccable GPA or having a laundry list of extracurricular activities, but the secret weapon is actually your LSAT score, because that's what admissions officers use to climb the rankings and make their schools look competitive. So don't leave money on the table. Even just a small jump in your LSAT score can mean the difference between $10,000 in aid and a full ride. Don't get trapped by debt, because no one wants to be saddled with monthly loan payments that eat away at your future. Instead, play the game to win. Leverage timing, negotiation, and your value as a high-scoring applicant to secure the best deal possible. Remember, law school is a massive investment of your time, energy, and money. And so if there's a straightforward way to walk away with little to no debt, Why wouldn't you take that path? It's worth fighting for. Don't let the schools call all the shots. Know your worth, prepare strategically, and claim the scholarships that could change your life. Anyway, folks, that's all for now. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.